those decals started pilling. It was very hot today, probably about 90 degrees in the sun, and it just literally just peeled off, but it did leave some of the glue behind. So I peeled it all off, and then to get in the corner, I literally just took a putty knife like this and just etched underneath the decal in the corner. That's all I had to do. Then once I did that, I just used the same 91% rubbing alcohol that I use to clean paint off things when I'm painting on my truck. And it literally just, that with a cloth, and it just took the remaining adhesive that was left over, it just took it right off. Cleaned it up, it was gone. Very easy to get that decal off. So that's what I did to, you know, freshen up the look of the front of the trailer, because those decals started pilling, basically. Now on the inside, couple small issues. So you can see it here, I haven't fixed it yet. This side, that side is snug. The side that has this pulls down nice, but this side is already coming out about 1/4 of an inch. This side I fixed, but it was coming out about literally 1/2 inch on this side. So I did add a magnet. I'm trying magnets now instead of those clips. It's not very strong, but it does the trick. But ultimately, I had to crack this little dovetail, or whatever they call this right here. I had to bust it to get this cabinet to lay flat again. But this piece of paneling, at least with mine, as you can see, this inset right here goes in a groove in here. So it goes back to about there somewhere, roughly. So this can actually act as a support mechanism because it's framed in here like so. And so what I did is I used my Loctite extreme glue you can get from my channel, thejohnnyoshow.com/promotions. You can find this on my Amazon affiliate links. This stuff is great. And I cracked the dovetail, pulled it apart a little bit, and I filled it with that glue, and it's set up nice and sturdy to where it could set flat. And then I've got this in here also to help prevent it from ever starting to warp like that again. So hopefully on this side I'll be able to just put the magnet and it'll fix it. If not, I'll have to do the same fix. Another thing is I'm constantly still trying to figure out a good solution for these drawers. So I've come to the conclusion that while these locking mechanisms I bought work really well for everything else, they do not work for this top drawer. And I finally figured out why. On the bottom drawer, you see I got this kind of fastener right here, and it gets a little bent up, but for the most part these are working. And here's why they're working. This can go this way and this way and not beat the crap out of these for the most part. I've had these on here for probably at least 10 or 15,000 miles. I think it's more around the 15,000 mile mark, and they have worked just fine. Not an issue, but that's because they're like this. So as the drawer moves like this, these just flex because they are designed to flex. However, on this top drawer, I couldn't put them here on the top because this right here goes all the way to the top, as you can see, and there would be nowhere to put the fasteners in place. So I put them on the side. Now again, what would happen is these things are getting the snot beat out of them. This back one was worse. Now I did put a block here to keep this from moving, and then I replaced this probably about the 10,000 mile mark. So it had about 5,000 miles on it and it was obliterated. And this side was actually fine, okay, for quite a while, but this side kept getting destroyed. So I put that block, and that block's got me at least 10,000 miles on this one without an issue. But this one, I put washers behind the fastener that used to be here, like I did the block on the other side. But within 3,000 miles, this that was over here at the time was obliterated. It just gets obliterated. So for this top drawer, you almost have to use magnets. Now the magnets I have here, this is not really strong enough. I got these at the hardware store. I know Amazon has some that are rated like 25 pounds of magnet and 50 pounds of magnet. You could probably try one of those. These did not even have a rating. They do provide some locking, however, so it's better than nothing. But this shouldn't get smashed. I think we're going to be okay, because as the drawer moves back and forth, it's just going to rub on this. So it should last. So I went ahead and put the magnet on this side. This side seems to be holding. If it fails, next time it fails, I'm going to switch it out to a magnet. All in all, I still do feel tension on this side with the magnet. It's not as much tension as this locking mechanism gives, but it does give some. And at the same time, remember, the real thing that protects your drawers in travel was this pole. So I just took 1/2-inch eye bolts and put them in place here, just far enough, and then a 1/2-inch dowel, and that is going to keep your drawers from ever coming open. You can kind of see that this side definitely does pull away a little easier with the magnet compared to this side. So that's the next modification I'm trying on drawers. Everything else seems to be working on the drawers, but I've always had a problem with this top drawer with those other type of locks that I've been using. So I think a magnet is the solution, but get a stronger magnet than what I use from a hardware store. Maybe try the 50-pound ones you can get off Amazon. That might be too much, I don't know, honestly. Another issue that just started is the oven door keeps jumping off, and I don't know why. As you can see, there it is. It just jumps off, and I don't know why it's doing it. It just started this last trip, going to Colorado and coming back. Now, it doesn't seem to be a big deal to refasten if I pull out. Well, this is exciting. In an attempt to fix the door, it came off. And I'm looking on YouTube, and so far I haven't found anybody telling me how to get these doors on or off. So I guess I'm gonna figure it out now. Gosh, I hope that's right. These two screws apparently hold the hinge. 2 screws here that hold this bottom part. So I'm getting the bottom part taken off. And now I have a hinge. Alright, so there's the hinge. I'll go ahead and take these 2 out. Then I have 2 hinges that are out that I should be able to put back in. And I have no idea. I'm probably ruining things, but we'll see what happens as I go forward. It's getting worse and worse. Okay, so I used the screwdriver to pull the spring off the edge here because I still couldn't get this in the slot. So now the spring is off. Okay, I should be able to stick this in here. But even with all that being said, all I've done is figure out how to take the door off, but this isn't going to keep it from jumping out of the socket. Nothing answers that question. Okay, so now, let's see, I can fold this up. I guess now I'm going to stretch the spring back up and catch it up here. Alright, well that's back in place, but it still doesn't tell me why it was popping off out of its socket. Okay, now to do the other side. Alright, so there. Now I should be able to put the door back on. Maybe. I'm getting it back together. Be careful. You don't want to bust this glass while you're doing all this. So now I'll try to get these lined up with the hole. It's like right there, right there. Alright, I'll get that all screwed back together. Got that fastened. Now I got to put the bottom back in place. I'll put the door up like this. The glass is actually fastened by the handle above, and then I should be able to put this all in. The pieces of glass fit between here and this. The back piece of glass fits in that little channel, and then this front piece of glass fits below this lip. Well, let's see what happens. I got the back lined up first in place, and then I think once that's lined up, I should be able to turn it down a little bit. Angle this down, angle it down a little bit, push this in. I can't do it with one hand, but you get the idea. The back is in place. Now let's push too far up. Let's bring it back down. I'll have to do it with 2 hands. All right, so I've got it now pushed up. let's bring it forward. Hopefully slowly. Now I should be able to put these screws in place here and there. So that'll be all back together. Alright, so there you go. That's how you put the oven door back on if it's come off. But that still doesn't tell me why is it jumping out. Or will it now? Look at, maybe it won't now. Maybe, I don't understand. There's nothing else to the mechanism. So I'm not sure why it's jumping out, how it was jumping out, and how, if I did anything to fix that. It's probably still going to jump out. So what have I learned from this? I have no idea why it's jumping out. It's now back where it should be, but it could still jump out again. There's very little to the mechanism, and there's nobody that makes a YouTube video on any information about why it might be jumping out. Not that I found. So I have no idea. I don't know. But there, that's how you reinstall the oven door. I can't tell you any more than that. I guess we'll have to see if it keeps jumping out, or see, you can push up on it. You can keep pushing up on it. But the side that kept jumping out was this side. This is the side that would always fall down. The 2 times it's done it, it's been this side. So if that came forward like that, can it come out? See, that I don't understand, unless it's, what happens if this is up? Then this could jump out. I don't understand. So I guess I don't know why it's starting to do this now. Honestly, I don't have a clue of why it would start doing this now, unless the suspension is finally gone with these stupid Torflex worthless axles, and maybe that's just how hard the camper's bouncing down the road now. I only drive 60 to 65 miles an hour tops with this thing, so and yes, I did jump the ball the one time, which I still don't understand how that happened. I guess I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say. There it is. So, okay, I just now noticed these screws are missing on this side. So, I'm not sure if that has any bearing on it. The rest of the screws seem tight. Oh, that screw's loose. So, let me replace some of these missing screws and tighten up. This was sloping down more on this side than it is now, because this screw was coming loose right up underneath here. There's 2 screws right in this area, and those were loose. So that was part of the sag there. So maybe that's the issue, is this thing is just flexing more because it's coming unscrewed. Alright, so these 2, this one still had its screw. I haven't checked it yet, but it's a little loose, but these are stripped completely. So I'm going to use these. This is what I got in my assorted screw chest here, that I'm going to just use these. These are nice big threads, and hopefully we'll catch. Let's see. Alright. Now I think this one is probably stripped also, but nope, that one still tightens up. And let's check these. Tight. Tight. Everything else is tight. Alright, again, this is all speculating that this is even the issue. Obviously, you need to have everything tight and with screws. Now, let's see how well this is it's a little more level now as far as this is. So I'll go ahead and put it back in its little place, and we'll fasten it back in. So let's just hope that fixed it. Maybe this video will be useful to you, maybe not. I will post in future if it appears that this actually fixed the issue. If it hasn't, then the next solution is we start strapping down the oven door like we do with the drawers and everything else. Another possibility is maybe it's how we're transporting stuff inside the camper. I don't think anything has changed. We've usually had some small items on the floor in this camper during transport, but maybe something has changed. Maybe these items are just a bit taller, and as they move, they're rubbing against the bottom of the oven door, pushing them up and off. Maybe nothing has changed on the oven other than it needing just general maintenance. Maybe it's how we're storing stuff in the camper while we're going down the road. So I'm going to be more aware of that and how we pack stuff to make sure it's nothing that would be high enough that could push on the bottom of the oven door while we're going down the road. So actually, as it turns out, this is coming apart, so you can kind of see how this is fastened together here. And you can see, so basically what I did is, to fix that other one, is I actually cracked it right here, and then I just put glue in this spot and put it together. Also, another thing I learned when I was doing the painting stuff on my truck was this stuff is great. I'm using 91%, and it's good for cleaning paint overspray off. It's good for cleaning up this glue. So I went ahead and filled this with glue, and of course some came out. So before it dries, I can just put some of this on the paper towel and just wipe it right off. This is such an easy fix, and it doesn't seem to hurt plastics. If I got a little bit of glue in my hand and I get it on my camera, this is perfect for that too. It doesn't seem to hurt any of the plastics, and it just cleans up the glue. So be aware, this is a nice, I had no idea. The screws were pretty well loose. I went in and glued all 4 of these on this side. Alright, so I still had the old thermostat, and I had a wrench, and they just wedged in there just right. That is actually going to work better to hold those together until they dry. I hope, in theory, it can't really slide back because this is the hinge. So let's see how that does. We'll let that dry, but I think we got it. That is my repairs for this trip. Everything else seems to be fine with the camper. No other issues other than I still don't know why it jumped out of the ball. All I can figure is it must have been some kind of human error. It goes in a groove in here. So it goes back to about there somewhere, roughly. So this can actually act as a support mechanism because